Hi there, it's Rebecca from Syntonic Birth, and I'm just following up to all of those of you who attended Saturday's event, understanding the mind-body connection for birth, how to minimise pain and maximise pleasure. Just wanted to follow up and thank you so much for attending, for making it such a special event, our very first, and it's got us off to a good start. Because it was our first, I realised that, since we did it, there were things that kept popping into my brain of all the things that I would like to have included that got left out. So with this video, I just wanted to say thank you and to recap on what I call the keystones for optimising birth. So the absolute essentials in my mind for what you need to put in place. And maybe we can follow this up with other little tidbits to cover the bits that didn't get included on Saturday. So number one, first keystone, would be education. So getting an understanding of the birth process, the normal physiological function of birth and how your body's actually built to do it, and getting that understanding so that you can get out of the way of the process. Understanding fetal positioning and the complex neurohormones, which is what we would go into much more detail in on the actual Syntonic Birth course. And also in the course we would cover positions for birth and all sorts, basically all the stuff that you need to know. And if there were any take-home message for this, the number one thing would be environment. To choose an environment to birth in in which you feel safe, private and at ease. So whatever you choose, I beg you to think about where you, and no one else, where you would feel safe, private and at ease to birth, so that your body can birth without all the fear and tension getting in the way that we talked about on Saturday. Another keystone number 3, would be emotional mastery. So we talked a little bit about fear and how that impacts on the body in terms of pain. And so emotional mastery would be really looking and acknowledging the fears that you have and then doing a fear release process to release it. Another part of the Syntonic Birth course would be positive state induction. So we would stack up all the positive states that you could possibly need. So feeling calm, feeling confident, all the states that would optimize your experience for birth. We would stack those states so that they're embedded in your state of mind and your physiology. And response repatterning would be a good one. So if you know that you or your birthing partner respond in a particular way to a given situation, that is easily reprogrammed with the neurological repatterning tools and NLP tools that are on the Syntonic Birth course. So they're quick and easy processes and techniques that can be used to really transform habitual responses to things. So it could be incredibly useful in the birth environment. We talked about relaxation and the importance of relaxation in terms of minimising pain. And so the emphasis really here is on practicing, as with all of these things, practicing relaxation, practicing breath extension. So I know some of you have signed on for pregnancy yoga, and that's a fantastic way, as is self-hypnosis and any kind of relaxation exercise. And the point of this is to practice it in such a way that you can effortlessly, easily, instantly and instinctively go into a state of deep relaxation, no matter what the environment or what's going on around you. Another keystone, physical preparation. So we touched on it with optimal fetal positioning in terms of how to encourage the best place for the best posture for your baby, getting your baby into position. But this would include openness in the hips and pelvic area, like we said, keeping the knees below the hips, and body upright and forward. But also developing a certain amount of strength. Physical preparation would include breath extension, hugely important for riding the wave of intensity of contractions, or as we prefer to call surges. And obviously good nutrition to keep you and your baby well and energised through pregnancy and for birth, and through the breastfeeding period, which is another thing we didn't really touch on, so perhaps that'll be a video for later. Okay, what are we on? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Keystone number 6 is positive imprinting. So this would be visual through watching birth films like we did on Saturday. Audio, so really be conscious about what stories are you listening to. We want to accentuate the positive and eliminate the negative. Yeah, self-hypnosis is fantastic for positive imprinting, so with embedded commands that are a slightly more solid way of saying affirmations, for programming your unconscious to believe all the right things for birth. Keystone number, what are we on? 2, 4, 6, 7. Keystone number 7, and this is the difference that makes the difference. This is the bit that Syntonic Birth is bringing out there, that the hypnobirthing doesn't really get to in quite the same detail or with the same sort of transformation that's possible, is mindset. The power of mindset. If I were to boil it down, it would be the difference between I can do it and I can't do it. But there are so many facets to this. Mindset would include the thoughts that you think, which create the pictures, which create reality, and we touched on the power of imagination with the lion exercise. Beliefs. Nobody really came up with beliefs, but what we believe is what determines our reality. Attitudes, these are our opinions, our outlook on life. And that's my son in the background going for a wee-wee. The beauty of working from home. So, thoughts, beliefs, attitudes, perceptions. You know, what we perceive to be painful might not be what somebody else perceives to be painful, for instance. I can't read my notes. Language, you know, the language of childbirth is not very empowering. Just think about the word labour, for instance, and that will give you some idea. Meta programs and strategies. We all have strategies for getting up in the morning, for being late or being on time. We have strategies for everything, and these are really, really, such powerful tools. I've helped somebody stop alcoholic binge drinking that was a generational issue in less than 3 hours with just a strategy scramble process. So that is the power of mindset. This is the stuff that I'm really excited to bring out there. And lastly, we did touch on this. Lastly, the one-to-one care, ideally with a midwife. So just think about an independent midwife if you can find the funds. Failing that, a doula. Make sure you ask the right questions to pick the right person for you. But that continuity of care makes all the world of a difference, and every midwife and doula knows it, and it's just sadly not provided for the majority. So there we have it, the 8, I think we got to 8, the 8 keystones for optimising your childbirth experience. I'll be in touch very soon, and I'm really hoping that we can put together a package that can get you started with next steps and an action plan for taking this work forward. Thanks very much for your time. Thank you for joining me on Saturday, and I'll see you very soon.